And we're live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Video Talk. Thanks for coming on a nice Sunday afternoon. Yeah, I guess I could say afternoon. So, just do the usual admin of just let you know what's going on for the show. If I can find the right button to hit. So as we're right now, right into the intros and the welcome, and then before we bring Jordan Drayer onto the show, we just have a segment with the ChatGPT interview that we've been promoting online on social media and everything like that, and then we go right into speaking with Jordan, and then kind of wrap up as to what's going on and then where to find us. So, and just the usual with the heads up, when we'll take questions after each topic, and just make sure to put a Q in front of the questions to help us find the questions, everything like that. And then, we'll make sure we'll provide links, anything we reference available. If not in the comments, at least in the descriptions as to what we'll throw out there. So, um, yeah, so that's a scoop. Pretty straightforward stuff. So, with that, let me just cue up the old uh, chat GPT interview that we've been talking about, and then we kind of subtly hint as to what the connection is with the chat GPT segment with our guests, and it'll be pretty apparent. And if it's not, just let us know, and I'll clarify. So with that,
And so the big question I have that I think are on people's mind is what are your views people's fear of AI taking over the world, going as far as to say replace humans in all facets, creativity, jobs, socialization, at all?
As an AI model, I do not have views or opinions, but I can provide information on the topic. The fear of AI taking over the world and replacing humans in all facets is a concern that has been raised by some experts in the field. While it is true that AI has the potential to automate certain tasks and may eventually be able to perform some tasks better than humans, it is important to remember that AI is still a tool created and controlled by humans. AI can be used to augment human capabilities and improve efficiency in various fields, such as healthcare, education, transportation, and manufacturing. It can also be used to create new opportunities and jobs, such as data analysts, AI engineers, and machine learning experts. However, it's also important to acknowledge that AI has the potential to disrupt certain industries and displace jobs, particularly those that are repetitive or routine in nature. Therefore, it's important for governments, businesses, and individuals to work together to ensure that the benefits of AI are widely shared and that efforts are made to mitigate the negative effects of AI on the workforce. In terms of creativity, AI can be used as a tool to generate new ideas and possibilities, but it's still not able to replace human creativity, as it lacks the ability to understand the context and the emotional component of creative endeavors. In terms of socialization, AI can facilitate communication and connection, but it's not able to replace human interactions and emotions, as it lacks the ability to empathize, understand, and respond to emotions. In summary, AI has the potential to bring many benefits, but it also has the potential to disrupt certain industries and displace jobs. It's important to acknowledge both the potential benefits and drawbacks of AI and to work together to ensure that the benefits are widely shared while minimizing the negative effects.
May I have permission to continue the conversation with you? Is there a way to save this discussion we're having, or does it disappear?
You do not need permission to continue the conversation with me. I am here to assist you with any questions or information you may need. Unfortunately, this discussion will disappear once you end the session, and it is not possible to save it. However, you can take notes of the information provided and refer back to them at any time.
Even if this discussion closes, will you have a memory of our discussion? So if I make a reference to it, you'll remember, or will you have no recollection of our discussion, ChatGPT?
As an AI model, I do not have a memory in the way that humans do. Each time I respond to a question or statement, I process the information provided to me and generate a response based on that information. But I don't retain any information from previous interactions. Therefore, I will not remember our conversation after this session ends. However, you can always start a new conversation and reference previous discussions. I will use the information you provide me to generate a response based on the context provided. If you have any specific questions or information you want me to recall, you can always provide me with the context, and I will do my best to give you an accurate response based on the information provided.
Okay, so we have the full conversation on our website. So if you go to the link there at shalalalaproductions.com/chatgpt 01, you'll hear the full conversation we have with ChatGPT. And yeah, it was a great blast. Now, uh, just want to introduce our guest, Jordan Drayer. From playing instruments for parents, friends, and visiting relatives to trying to record the Lord of the Rings on an audio cassette with friends in middle school, Jordan has always loved performing and entertaining. Voiceovers come a dream sometime in the preteen years. Once you realize there's an actor behind those anime characters. I want to do that. Yet she stuck with music for a while, pursuing a music major at Florida State University, along with French and Japanese minors. However, upon graduating in 2013, voiceover is indeed what Jordan turned her attention towards, and hasn't looked back, learning many different types from commercials to video games to a rock narration. She's voiced for brands including Zuli, Ernst and Young, and thanks. Outside of voiceover, Jordan enjoys traveling, Dungeons and Dragons, video games, and painting. She was born in Houston, Texas, grew up in Las Vegas, and then Orlando. Lived in Dallas for a time, as well as, and let me make sure if I pronounce this correctly, Saint Brieuc. Hopefully, I did it right. And is now loving life in Los Angeles with her two cats, Huck and Valerian. Uh, Pleasure to introduce Jordan Dre to the show. Jordan, thanks for coming on. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing? It's yeah, Saint-Brieuc. That's where I was for 7 months when I was teaching France teaching English in France during the pandemic.
Oh wow, that's with I know like with a lot of folks I've heard with the pandemic, you know, teaching online has been a helpful too, and they must be blessed to be able to. Well, I mean, I would I would if I were I couldn't resist probably testing out different voices one if I was teaching and stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, well, in teaching English, you have to be really clear. But like it was somewhat fun to be able to do something different. There was a curfew though at like 6 o'clock. It was very different from the United States, and people actually followed it.
yeah, I forget sometimes that time time difference can be a challenge at times, and making sure like if especially like if it's like a 4 or 5 hour lag, like it may be like evening here, morning there, and what have you.
Oh, no, I mean, like a curfew for people being outside during the pandemic. You could not go outside your home after 6
Oh,
o'clock.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll get it right. For folks that just joining in, Jordan Drayer here on the SN, and as the hint I was alluding to, if you listen to the Chat GPT segment, I had the pleasure to have Jordan voice at Chat GPT, which was a lot of fun to put together.
Yeah, it's interesting. Coming up with a friendly yet AI voice, what I think
Yeah,
ChatGPT would sound like.
I mean, it's just kind of neat, just because I think it was like the article I read when you wrote about in your website about the Fabermans, just about the idea of playing, and so I think just doing like something creative, even something a little bit outside the box, it was fun to do, and I just love the process and putting it together, which maybe like a transition to a question I have is like whether it's creative collaboration like this or with work, is there like different processes as to how you go in preparing for a voice assignment or voice work or what have you?
Um, I feel like I need to have better preparation when it comes like some people have a whole process and whatever, but for me, I kind of just like look at the character, especially if there's a picture.
Yeah.
It's nice when because they don't always give you a picture, and then you're like, "What does this person sound like?" And you see the specs, and they're teen, goofy, um, this is how they're dressed, you can see it's not very proper, or I don't know, not proper, but, like, it's not very, like, formal, and so then they're gonna probably have, like, a laid back sound, and then you could experiment with different voices, but, so, like, yeah, for ChatGPT, it's like, it's a robot, it wants to be helpful, it probably doesn't have, like, a negative bone in its body, but it does tell it like it is, and so it needs to be, in a way, firm too.
Right.
So,
In
yeah,
doing
just
that, I'm sorry, go
envisioning.
ahead.
No, just that, just envisioning from reading the specs and thinking.
And do you find it like it's a little bit like a different approach from that, from like if you were to like approach, let's say, whether uh, an animation or a commercial, like a narration voice as to like uh, whether it's like vocal warm ups or just or like if they didn't have like a specific character image in mind, like do they provide like bios brief or just something that gets you in the right mind frame when you tackle them?
Yeah, sometimes they'll give you music if you're lucky to like, "We already have this music, so listen to this and try to make a voice to it." So that helps a lot, and for commercial, definitely, like, finding, okay, this is the product, like, you have to build the product and say it, like, slow down on these words, and, um, I don't know, I think it's all the same though, because like, one of my other voiceover teachers, her name is Anne Genguza, she always talking about what you're always playing a character, even if it's commercial or even if it's e-learning, 'cause you're inhabiting someone else, like, that you aren't necessarily, like, maybe now you're a lover of kiwis and you hate kiwis, but, like, a lot of things you can do is replace kiwis with something you love, and just imagine that you're talking about bananas or some whatever it is that you like.
Or like you mentioned that you love Dungeon and Dragon and anime, so would you say that that would be one of the main inspirations as what got you into the voiceover acting and everything?
Well, definitely anime, like, I only got into Dungeons& and Dragons, like, in the last 3 years or so,
Hmm.
and I wish that I'd found it earlier, but me and my sister were always making up stories since we were young, because we shared it, like, I'm a twin, and we shared a room growing up, and we'd just take, like, 10 or 11 characters, maybe from Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Final Fantasy, and make up stories with them, and just improv all night till we fell asleep, basically, and so that's not very good sleep habits in the end. Like, it's hard for me to, fall asleep sometimes now that I'm on my own, but, uh, just that definitely got us into it, like, this inhabiting someone else and kind of casting off your kind of boring or sad life, whatever it is, to be someone else, and, I don't know, in anime, there's like, usually the anime that I like are the adventure ones anyway, so always this adventuring kind of stuff. That's what, like, drew me into it.
So like so and so for anime, like adventure themes are one that really take your fancy, or ones that really like would be on the top radar if something when something comes down in your way.
Yeah, I don't really like the slice of life ones, they're kind of boring, like, there's some anime that are just like, "So and so went to school today. Oh, we have a school project today," like, the whole episode might be about finishing a school project. It's just kinda boring.
Because like with the actions, or at least I mean, my only reference is like I mean, growing up and well, I still do like watch a lot of like the superhero cartoons where they have like a lot of those like they have to provide their own sound effects, like in a fight scene, like where the punches and stuff like that. And like, is that would that be different with anime, or just more like a different kind of action audio?
No, I think it'd be the same. I mean, maybe the superhero ones could be a little exaggerated, but I'd never really watched them as far as, like, those old '90s ones anyway. But, like, getting hit, like, that's often part of a lot of video game auditions is, like, having a lot of effort sounds, especially at the end of the audition. Like, it'll say, like, um, soft hit, medium hit, like, hard hit, and then, like, short death scream, long death scream, something like that. So it's the same. We all make the same efforts, I think, whether it's anime or video games or superheroes, like, people get hit in the same ways.
I th or like, the ones I like is when they give you a chance to cut loose, like, not to sound more, but, like, whether it's like a fight scene, like, where you get wounded or, like, if you're jumping off a cliff, you go, "Ah!" and just kinda, like, go bananas or what's the other, bananas or just kinda, like, all let it all hang out and everything.
Yeah,
So
most definitely.
so, but um, with, whether it's a commercial or something of a narration where where there's not that many opportunities where you can kinda, like, make fighting sounds, like, do you try to infuse a little bit of, I don't know if I would say fun, but just something a little bit extra just to kinda get you going if the, like, the copy you read is just maybe lackluster and needs to breathe a little life into it?
Yeah, a lot of times when it comes to commercial scripts, they don't want the like, 'cause people's that's always like a, what is the word? Like, a fight, not a fight, but, like, people debate this over and over, like, "Should we keep the improv in the audition?" And I've heard that, yes, it's okay for animation and video games, that makes sense, but for commercials, apparent like, you can improv, like so the script says, um, like, "Try Downy today." Like, you could say, "Oh, come on, guys, try Downy today," and then delete the try "come on, guys," like, from the audio, and then you can send it in because, like but it helps you to get into the feeling of it anyway, but, like, to leave it in might not be good. But then who knows, like, because they also say to, um, catch the ear of the people listening because 'cause they're listening to, like, 200 to 600 auditions. So it's a big debate whether or not you should leave the improv in, but definitely doing the improv helps you to get into character, to be like, I just get so tired of, my dirty clothes. Like to scoff, but maybe not leave the scoff in when in the final take.
Yeah, or if they call for, like, an eye roll, I guess it'd be kinda hard if it's just, like, a radio company.
Well, I mean, you can do it, like, if you, like, change your voice while you do it, like
Well, that's a good
but
point. I guess because like, it's funny because like, whether it's when people, like, read the copy, like, they'll get into it just so that way, even though they can't see it, they can kinda sense it just to how it's either enunciated and stuff, and I always get a kick out of that because you can let a listener just, like, use their imagination, run wild as to how it looks.
Yeah, I mean, that's kinda what the actor has to do too, because there's nothing there to react to, or you have to make up people that you're talking to all the time.
And do you find that that happens more with the with straight copy or different types of, voice work where you have to you let your imagination run wild when it's may not be cut and dry or just maybe infuse a lot of life into such things?
To, like, straight copy like, um no, I think that commercial ones are really, because it's just the real world, it's much more straightforward, and you're definitely in your house talking to another mom or something like that, and then video games, definitely, yeah, you have to let your imagination go, and it's like, "Okay, we're sitting down, I just got back from battle, and I'm really tired, and this person wants to talk to me now, and I don't really like that person, but we do need to work together." Like, you have to really go into it a lot more, and that is what will make your audition stand out.
Exactly. Now I
But then
know
once you were actually in the recording studio, they'll tell you what you're doing. You don't have to make it up anymore.
because I and which interesting when you talk about recording studio because I know like different productions house or like or even some copies where you could um work from home, it's just like a different setup. And I imagine, like, do you find it challenging to try to provide the consistency in the audio work, whether if you're working from home or if you're using someone else's facility uh to do the recording or
No, I mean, I've never used someone else's facility except when I'm actually doing a job. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I only record from home. I mean, I do jobs from home, but I'm never doing auditions from someone else's place.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's funny because like whether if it's it always amazed me where if someone like is producing like in a formal audio recording studio, like they have all the sound dampeners and surrounds, so they have it down pat. But for those that are working from home or like or run their own studio, like in a makeshift studio, is interesting. Like the different setup as to what they do to try to achieve that. So I never know like if there's like a certain art or just like a certain arrangement how they would do that, or if it just or there's actually noticeable differences. So I
There's
always
probably some noticeable differences, but mostly it's a lot of knowing how sound reflects and like having one behind the microphone. I mean, as far as like foam or some kind of sound blanket, and then like stuff behind. So yeah, stuff behind it and stuff behind you in front of it, front of the microphone, because it's like sound first will go back and then bounce this way, and then you have to think about the sides, and I don't know how like, and there's stuff that you can put in the corners and whatever, but in a way, it's not that hard, and like it's just the quality of microphone I think that can make a big difference too. Which studios will have the $1,000 microphones, and not everybody in their closets will.
yeah. I mean, it's amazing now that people I think I pay attention a lot more, and maybe because it was also the pandemic, of just how important audio is, especially when whether it's a video conferencing or a show that people now see that more important than with the video image. Just that if not the jinx the show or anything like that, but if something that were to go down with the video, but if they could hear the audio and keep and know like what the conversation or the message is about, that they can be a little more forgiving. Um,
Mhm.
which which makes me curious as to like, was there any was there any a funny anecdotes or story comes to mind of just like the type of improvisational of trying to record or just like in terms of or getting the character that you can share?
Funny getting into the ChatGPT?
Whether it's ChatGPT or maybe like an earlier project or just um or or maybe something you work on of either funny
Yeah.
anecdotes of just either getting preparation or just even just like how to improvise like if this environment wasn't ideal to record as to like what you do to as they say get the job done.
Well, a lot of times I just wait for it to be late at night, and but so, like, in the beginning, I was, like when I was first starting, I was really kind of afraid to do very loud things, because sometimes in, like, video game like I was talking about, like, you have to scream. And even today, I'm like, "Oh, I hope my roommates don't think I'm, like, dying or weird or something." Or, like, even because sometimes my cats will be in here recording with me and just laying there, and then I feel bad for them. "I'm not yelling at you. I'm just yelling at their coffee." And, so there's that. But, like, no, I've never really had to, like, improv. You just cut out the sound, like a loud car drives by or an airplane or something, and you wait for it to go by, and then you can start talking again. And that's why I left my because I was living in one house in Los Angeles when I first moved here for, like, 4 years, and then it was very close to a small airport, so now I'm a little bit further away from it. And, like, I have a bigger closet, so it helps, and I don't feel so bad screaming because 'cause I'm, like, on a farther away area of the house compared to, like, my last house where I was, like, more in the middle and my roommates could hear me.
Yeah, I remember like I think it was like 3 years ago, like right at the start of the pandemic, and I was just starting to get used to like live streaming. And the setup here was a lot different because a tr- one stormy day, a tree hit our house, and so so I had to like kind of like we reconfigure everything, and so it was a matter like I was
Mhm.
concerned whether if the audio can be heard, and it's just like a lot of trial and error, and I'm trying to make sure like when they're doing work outside, they didn't hear like the construction worker of people trying to move the tree and stuff like that. So it's like, but
Yeah, I know.
but it makes an
Yeah, I look
interesting.
forward to the day when I can own a house or something so I can have a permanent studio because I never wanna do anything very permanent, like, as far as, like, the green glue and all the other sound things you can do because it's not my house, and I don't wanna, like I need to be able to move around and stuff too, so I just have a lot of panels and blankets and stuff, but it works.
Yeah, I remember like one time on a different project, had a colleague of mine, of Buenos Aires, and y- yeah, you know, it's like seeing like if I had any formal place to record, and he just like went into one of my closets and just kind of threw a blanket over him and was recording. Like, what are you doing? And
Exactly.
he's like, "Oh, I'm just doing recording." And he was kind of like explaining like what you're doing is just redirecting the sound and everything in the recording, like, and
Yeah,
it sounded
people,
great,
like in going to voiceover conventions, people do, like, pillow forts and with the stuff in um, the room, the hotel room, like, just blankets and pillows, and it works. Like, it's not gonna you're gonna maybe have some buzzing or something because of who knows, like, air conditioning or whatever, but it's okay.
right? Well, unless if it was like one of those sci-fi where it's like you have like insects trying to attack you, then it actually adds to the drama.
Yeah, although usually they don't want you putting effects in your auditions. They'll do that
Yeah,
themselves when the actual job happens.
that's true. Although it'll make the like the blood curdling yell a lot more effective when they hear it in real time. But as they say, I digress.
Yeah.
Let me see if we have any questions here from the gang. Uh, say D&D, huh? I dig it. Okay. And let's see. 6 p.m. curfew. I'd be in jail.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to
Okay.
have a reason, like a piece of paper saying, "Why are you going out?" And it's 'cause like from your doctor, "I need to get this medicine," stuff like that.
Right. Although I thought I had a good punchline, but I'll leave that one alone. But okay. I know we're kind of going through the questions pretty quick, so let me uh let me try to change things up here. Because I
Can I give
may
my
have like
computer cord
some
real quick?
no problem.
Oops, sorry.
So
Got it.
one of the things that I think, or at least whether it's the younger folks or people looking into break into the voice artist world is what would the advice would you give for someone that would want to try to pursue a career in voiceover acting, and then like what are the qualities you think would help people or you think is more important for them to be successful in the field?
First, like everyone else will tell you, get training. Like, and don't go to any of the companies, like, there because there are, like, some ones that'll be like, "You'll have a demo within the weekend, and you'll be ready for voiceover." But no, it's unless you already have a lot of acting training, it should probably take you, like, several months, like, of training and just, like, working with a coach on voiceover in general. Start with commercial. That's what agents usually want anyway. They don't care about, like, corporate narration or all the other stuff as much as commercial because that's what gets them money. So you could start there, even if you really wanna do video games. Apparently, there are places where you can, like, send in your commercial demo, and they'll hire you for video game stuff based on your commercial demo, not a video game demo. But so, yeah, lots of training. Like, for me, that's all I did, like, from 2013 to, like, kind of 2018, just lots of training, and, like, I have a lot of debt from it now, but it was like taking another degree, basically. And, because like, you're always acting, and even in the commercial ones where it seems like just a normal read, you have to learn how to sound conversational while reading, which sounds really easy, but it's not. Um, and then you can diversify and like try out other ones like, oh, radio imaging. I'd like to try that class after you've like kind of entrenched yourself in one of them. So just lots of training first. And then as far as qualities, definitely self-starter. You have to be organized, like keeping track of your own invoicing and stuff unless you really have the money to pay someone else to do that for you or do your own marketing, because you do have to let people know you exist and you like as far as marketing and stuff. So you have to be that's something I've had to get over is this feeling of that I'm selfish or arrogant when it comes to marketing and stuff. But you have to do it and you have to think about it as kind of not personal, all business. And it's weird because you're promoting yourself. It would be easy if you were promoting someone else, I'm sure. But I guess you kind of have to think about it like that, that you're promoting kind of, I don't know, you could think of it as a persona. Or maybe if you really want, you can choose a stage name or something. I do that with my um the erotica ones. A lot of other people do that too, for erotica especially. Uh so yeah, I don't know, just a business sense, self-starter, perseverant. Wait, is that the right word? Persevering and um strong backbone. Because like, it's not that they always say they're not rejecting you, they just chose someone else. It has nothing to do with you, and, like, they're not being like, "Oh, this person, I can't believe they even auditioned." No, it's like they have a character, for some reason, the writer really wanted it to be their aunt, and so they're looking for a voice that sounds like their aunt, and so maybe everyone else is a really good voice, and it was a really good audition, but they're like, "This person sounds like my aunt, let's choose them." And that's you'll never know. You'll just never know why you weren't chosen, or maybe why you were chosen. I guess you could ask when you get the job, "Why'd you choose me?" But that would be kinda weird too.
Right. Do you find the voiceover community supportive when folks are going for roles and positions?
Yeah, I don't know anything about on camera because I've never done it, but from what I have heard from voiceover people who do both, they're always like, "Ah, voiceover people are so nice. This community is so welcoming and helpful." And like people will pass on auditions to each other and be like, "I'm not right for this role, but you know who is." And like I guess they don't do that in the on camera world. Cutthroat.
Yeah. It's funny because I know, like, there was, like, a documentary, I think it was, like, on, Amazon, and they were interviewing different voice artists, and they're saying similar, anecdotes, just saying how helpful it was, but uh, I never had a chance to, like, talk to folks since I heard that, just to hear how supportive it is, and so it's cool to hear that there is such a genial and just people just rooting for each other for stuff.
Yeah, it's nice. Like, I don't really have any personal anecdotes related to that, but I just know from other people telling me their anecdotes that it exists.
Exactly. I, 'cause I since you mentioned, uh, the erotica work, I've often wondered, like, of the different, voiceovers that you've done, like, is there one that really stood out, the one that you're proud of, when you think of the work that you've done?
Well, I mean, I'm still waiting f I've done 1 video game so far, and I'm still waiting for it to come out. So, like, that was, I think, 2019 or no, 2021. I think it was when I got back from France, and so I'm still waiting for that to come out, but I guess that would be what I'm most proud of right now, the fact that I got to actually do it with, like, 13 people there, like, the writers, several directors, like, people phoning in from South Korea, and, um, it was, like it was really cool just to be there where then you do feel like a tool, though, and, like, that's really what the actor is, they're just a tool to give the character life, and well, because like, you voice something and then there's, like, a long silence as they're just talking to each other because 'cause you're in the booth and they turn the button off and you can't hear what they're saying. And so they're really just talking about, like, would the character say this or would the character be more happy here? And like you have nothing to do with it. And then you realize then you become humble and I don't know, that kind of stuff that the actor is not important. I mean they are, but like they also aren't. It's really the writers.
I hear you. It's 'cause it's, because I hear it's like it's the writers, the performers, and then the voice director that kind of like is like the maestro that kind of like
Yeah,
um
the voice like, yeah, the director goes in between the writers and the actor to help them communicate with each other because sometimes writers can't do that. I mean, I don't know, like, that's a thing in animation too, like, my sister was doing that as a degree, and that there's one called a technical artist, because there's, like, the computer programming artists, then there's like, the drawing artist, and then the technical artist, who's the person that goes in between, like, because the ones that draw on paper only for, like, no coding and nothing, like, they just don't understand, and then, like, there's the code, like, the ones that rig everything, and sometimes they don't understand, like, the story or whatever, and so, like, the technical artist has to teach, like, they're gonna have to be able to do this because they're a swimming character, and I don't know, something like that, that there has to sometimes be a person in between to talk about it.
right? Or is like or in the family like you have like someone that's kind of like a referee or someone that's like a diplomat between the two sides.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions that might have popped up here. I don't think there's any other questions that pop up, but um, I think other than sorry, I just got kind of spaced out there for a second. I thought there was a question I might have missed. Well, why don't we just dive in? One of the important questions I love to ask is just like to hear like what you're currently working on and where folks can find you.
Okay. Um, there's nothing long that I'm working on right now, just auditions, and, I got a new agent recently, so I'm working on getting that, like, getting headshots and things that he needs sent over to him, and, um, I don't know, just, like, mostly just continuing life. I'm working as far as non-voiceover stuff, I'm sewing a costume right now to go to a Ren fair with. It's pretty involved. It's, like, taking most of the weekend, but I've had a lot of days off anyway recently, so that's helped, and, um I'm working on learning Hebrew and Spanish. I've been working on Spanish for a long time, and, what else? LinkedIn. I'm working on being better at LinkedIn marketing, and I would still like to send postcards. Like, a long time ago, people were like, and when I was learning about marketing, they're like, "Do things to get you," like, "Do postcards, do flyers," and I always thought that's dumb. But now I'm thinking, like, nobody does postcards unless they're, like, realtors and stuff, and so maybe I could do it too, and that fits with my aesthetic, which is kinda like 1800s, but also, like, savvy in, like, computer stuff, and so handwriting, I love it. So maybe people would like that. I don't know if I'd actually get business, but I could try it. So I have all these things I want to do and I need to do, and as far as, like, working on right now, there's nothing really, like, big. There's just a lot of the same old stuff, same marketing, same exercising, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I know like a while back I did like a calendar mailing and I think I might have made like 25 or 30 and I got like one response. So yeah, I mean, as much as people chuckle about the direct mail or direct marketing or even like postcards, I mean, if you got a great if you got a great audience base, I mean, it's just a matter of just like what's in the writing and the copy that will get their people's
Yeah,
attention.
I mean, like,
So
it would be cold calling, but that's all I ever do. I just do cold emailing normally, and so I would just choose, like, it looks like these studios use voiceover, and, like, mail to them basically.
yeah, and I know like when we've been keeping in touch before, like through social media, I think it's cool that at least whenever I interact with you, we've been able to, as they just say, like I just have like, albeit virtual conversations. It's always cool to get to know people better, just so that be like top of mind. Say, hey, I I know some of them make a great narration work. Have you give Jordan a call, or just the people that I find
Yeah, I know
that's
that I
helpful.
find hard in general because again, I'm like especially with LinkedIn thinking, "Oh, this is so fake." Like me saying happy birthday to someone I don't really know and trying to make a relationship. I know that like yeah, the in networking and everything, relationships are important. And so that's another thing that I have to get over in a way is this again feeling of fakeness and like arrogance and stuff like that and just be like, "No, I'm interested in this person and I need to talk to them and instead of feeling fake about it. Like they're a cool director, I should get to know them. But then I mean trying to not do it in a creepy way. There's some kind of line and balance. Like not be creepy, not be clingy. Like all the other actors are gonna want to talk to them too and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, it's just a matter of just finding the right medium that works. Some people are comfortable whether they write or just send a call or an email or even like a video message. That's worked too. So I think I run through the gamut, and I think to your point, as long as like we find a way to be, I know the words used often too often, like authentic, but just being yourself, I think is what resonates.
I
And
know.
I
I'm
think
like myself wouldn't talk to strangers, but like I mean you have to. So
yeah, it's I guess as in voiceover work, it's an art, and just to find that right balance and that right presentation and such. The fun stuff,
yeah,
so that people
balance.
don't
Okay.
try to leave you in the cold, so to speak.
Yeah, I like it.
Couldn't resist. I had to find a way to
Of
get it in
course.
there naturally instead of like, where did that graphic come from?
Uh-huh. Yeah, people be like, what's the snow for?"
Exactly. Oh, we got a from my good friend George. He says, I have to be honest, if I like a voice in an animation or cartoon, I do Google who the voice is, and I do check other stuff that the person voiced. Yeah,
Yeah, me
it's
too.
yeah. I think I do that. I do that more with the animation, just because like the voice is so distinct. But then it's funny where like if you watch a specific genre or just other similar shows, you can kind of pick up on the voice. Like, wait, is that the same voice as blah blah? And then you kind of go, okay, let me do a Google search and
Yeah. I know, like, I have friends that they'll be like, "I heard you in this commercial," like, to each other, and I still can't recognize people's voices in commercials, so I've never been able to compliment someone on a commercial unless they share it on Facebook, and then I can be like, "Oh, that's definitely your voice."
yeah. Or some like I've seen like, or I should say, I should hear like with some podcasts, like they'll make reference like, oh yeah, I did that commercial, and also they'll do like a very like a quick second just so that people can recognize. Oh, you did the voice of the Ford car commercial. Oh, you did the voice of that. I was like, oh, that stuff I have a hard time not to geek out. Just like, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah. No, that's
fun
what I
stuff.
always liked with finding when you find video game and anime actors that's like they did this like, "Oh, these 2 actors were together in this game, and, like, they were best friends in this game, and now in this anime, they're villains," or I mean, opposites or whatever, and that's I always think that's funny.
Yeah, exactly. I think,
It makes, like, a
or
kind of metaverse or something.
yeah, or if they had like, I don't know why I remember this particular episode where they had um the gentleman that does the voice of the Flash was also on Smallville, and so he was like Lex Luthor, and they did some sort of a cartoon where they did like a brain swap so that the Flash character was in Lex Luthor's body, so you can kind of hear the same actor voice Lex Luthor, but the the meta-ness is that he had played Lex Luthor in a prior TV show, so that meta-ness is just
Yeah,
kind of like
that
ah,
is funny. Yeah, that's cute. I like that. I like it when they do stuff like that.
indeed. Alrighty, so we just make sure I hit the right buttons there. So for folks that wish to contact you, here's Jordan's email, and if you want to check her work. Let me just get the right button. There it is. That's jordandrayervoice.com, and you can also find her in LinkedIn, backslash Jordan dash Drayer. And here's that link. Oh, and that's where you can find her.
That's on Instagram and Twitter.
And
It's
Discord.
Pootsies. You know, me and my sister made up our own Pokemon a long time ago, and so not sure. But I mean, well, there was a hotel in Las Vegas at that time called the Plaza,
Uh-huh.
and then my dad had a restaurant called Foozy, and so there was a lot of Z's. It's like we loved watching the lights of the Plaza Hotel go because it was this thing that would go up and then like open up at the top every night. Because we had one car and our mom would take us to pick dad up from work. So I saw the lights of 90s Las Vegas all the time, and but that's where Pootsie and Platzi come from. You know, it's like a weird word.
I was gonna ask that, but you read my mind there, so we can add mind
Yeah.
reader under other talents there. So, and let me just get that there one more time. And folks, these information, the information, links and stuff, that's also on the video description there. So, or that you can just watch the replay and you can find it here at this portion of the video there. So, all right. Well, I guess the only other question is like anything that we covered that we haven't brought up that you'd like to let others know.
Well, um, no, I mean, just a reminder that the ChatGPT interview is, like, well, it's like 8 or 9 minutes long, but you can go to Robert's website to find the whole thing. It's fun.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see what ChatGPT, because like he literally asked it questions, and these are the answers it came up with to describe itself. So, like, you can learn a lot about AI from its answers, and also the fact that it mentions, like, my knowledge, it doesn't go beyond 2021, and
Yeah.
so, like, it's not gonna be able to help you with everything, and it shouldn't, like, it's like, whole purpose was meant for, like, emails and helping fill in stuff, not not to do, like, your high school essay or something like that. Don't write, I mean, write your own essays.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I first heard about it, just like a news segment where they were using that to write essays and stuff, and so I thought, well, that's interesting. And then it didn't take long for others to try to use it for marketing or even something creative. And then when I
Well,
thought
yeah, my
about,
coworker used it recently to help draft like a, firm but polite email kind of thing. So they can help.
yeah, I still think that whoever incorporates voice recognition into it, I think that they'll probably like stand out. It's right now. I feel like it's like VCR versus beta between Google's Bard and ChatGPT. Oh, comment here, Jordan. That's just
I don't
how
know, there
AI
are
works.
other things. There is a really cool one called Clara. I don't remember
Okay.
what it stands for anymore, but she is like, she can travel, and so you can type her questions and she shows up on a screen. Like,
Hmm.
she has a persona and everything, and like they use someone's image and someone's voice for her, and so you can ask her questions and she'll answer, and they like take her to schools and stuff like that. Also, I
Yeah,
think she's from around there, from around Boston area or something.
exactly. George was just saying just how AI works. They are trained on a data set. There's a newer one. AI will involve the train from us, but things need to happen legislation wise. Yeah, the fun with red tape.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, again, thank you for just being open and just collaborate. It was just fun to be able to do, and yeah, and I just enjoy just the hearing just to like how you approach the creating the voice there too, and I think people will really enjoy hearing the work there. And who knows? Hopefully, something will explode, and they'll benefit tenfold from the work that you've done on it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
My
I wish
pleasure.
you well, and thank you for having me on. Thank you for reaching out to me.
Oh no, pleasure. Just thank you for just reaching out in general, just to keep in touch and just kind of like having fun in the correspondence and stuff, whether it's virtual or social media or what have you that I'm linking out on. So it's always a blast.
Yeah, one day I'll go to Boston. I've done because I did closed captioning for 5 years as a job, and I was always doing WCVB, Channel 5, and so it's like I know a lot about Boston and all the suburbs, but I've never been there.
Yeah, there's a yeah. It's once you get beyond the traffic and the madness of all that, and they're still working on the T, but yeah, it's always fun to be able to explore for sure.
Gee, yeah, yeah, Malden. I just all these random places and stuff I know the names of.
I hadn't thought of quizzing you on cities in Massachusetts, but it could be for the next episode though.
Yeah, one day I'll go there.
Oh, and Georgia said, "Fantastic to meet you, Jordan." And voice acting seems like such a cool job, and cool people
Me
too.
too. Yeah, really fun people. Thank you so much.
Anytime. So, as I joke, when there's a lull, that means it's time to wrap up. So, I'm just gonna like do the usual outro, but if you just hang on before you go, let me just throw up the graphic here. Just the preview for our next month's show. Uh, just a returning guest with my good friend and good colleague Dave J. Curtis, also a voice artist, as well as a performer and other mediums. It'll be good to catch up with him and also geek out with him as well. So and and again for folks that are looking to find me, there are the oh, I always get my fingers. There are the links there. You can catch me there, and I'll get it right with the button hidden, folks. But that's that's everything. So yeah, again, a big thank you for Jordan for coming on here. It's just had a blast to geek out and just to hear what's going on with her. And again, where you can find her, we also have the information in the video description below there too. Uh, so so again, our next show is May 13th with our good friend David J. Curtis. And thank you guys for watching, and hope everyone well, staying safe, and I will catch you guys later. Now, okay, where's that button?